Okay, so this is part 2 of solving systems of equations by graphing. These are just a couple more examples if you need them. So here again, remember our first step in solving is we always want to look at our equations and we want to see which equation do we need to rewrite. So this first equation is already in y equals mx plus b form. So I want to look at my second equation and it is not. So this is the equation we need to rewrite. Again, I would like for you to pause the video, try to solve this and put it in y equals mx plus b form, and then resume the video to see if you were correct. Okay, so for this equation, here, this is written in a different order than our other two, so be careful. Remember, we want to get our y term by itself. So that means we want to move anything that's not with that y term first. So this is what we need to move. We need to move that negative 3x. So we want to say plus 3x. And if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other side. These cancel out, so that 6y is going to drop down. Remember, this has an x term. This does not have an x term, so we cannot combine them. So we're just going to write 3x plus 6, okay? So then remember, if I have a letter and a number written side by side like this, that's just saying that they're multiplied. This is the same thing as 6 times y, okay? So we want to do the opposite of multiplication here, and we want to divide by 6. And again, if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other side. So here, now I do have a y, and if I look, I'm going to group these like this. And so I'm going to look and I'm going to say, well, what is 3 divided by 6? What does that simplify to? This simplifies to 1/2, okay? So I have 1/2 x, and then I'm also going to look here. Well, what is 6 divided by 6? Well, 6 divided by 6 is just 1. So this is going to be 2x plus 1. Okay? So our equation, once we've put it in y equals mx plus b form, is 1/2 x plus 1. Okay? So again, I'm going to start by looking at my y-axis, and I'm going to graph my y-intercepts. Okay? So here, my y-intercept is at positive 1. So I'm going to put my point at positive 1. And then I'm looking at my graph, or at my slope. And so my slope here is 1/2. So remember, for slope, we do rise over run. So we are going to rise up 1, and we're going to go over 1, 2. And we're going to do that a couple of times. So up 1, to the right, 1, 2. Up 1, to the right, 1, 2. And then I want to do the same thing to the left. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to go down 1 and to the left 2. Down 1 and to the left 2. Down 1 and to the left 2. Okay? And we have enough points now. We want to do that till we get enough points that we feel confident in drawing our lines. So here's our first equation. And now we're looking at our second equation, which is y equals 1/2 x minus 1. So again, I'm going to look at my y-intercept, and I'm going to graph that point, which is about right here. And my slope, again, is 1/2. So I'm going to go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. And I'm going to do the same thing to the left side, just opposite. So I'm going to go down 1 to the left 2, down 1 to the left 2, down 1 to the left 2. And I'm going to connect those dots. Okay? So here, something strange happens. These lines do not intersect at all, ever. Okay? These lines are actually parallel. And we kind of got a hint here that they would be parallel because they have the same slope. Okay, so these lines are parallel, which means they never intersect. So if this is the case, remember, parallel lines have the same slope. Okay, if this is the case, if you ever have it where the lines do not intersect, then this is no solution. Okay, that just means they never intersect. So there is no solution for them. All right. So for example 4 here, again, we have an equation that we need to rewrite, and that is our second one. So we have 2x minus 3y equals 12, okay? Again, I want to solve that for y, so pause the video, see if you can solve it for y equals, and then resume it once you think you have your answer, okay? So remember, we want to move over everything that's not with the y. So I'm going to start and I'm going to say minus 2x, okay? These cancel out. And remember, this has an x term. This does not have an x term, so we cannot combine them. So we have negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 12. And remember, when we have a letter and a number written side by side, that's the same thing as if they were being multiplied, okay? So we want to do the opposite of multiplication, and we want to divide by negative 3, okay? This cancels out, and I have y equals, what I like to look at, how I like to look at this is I like to look at this one first, and I like to say, okay, well, what is negative 2 divided by negative 3? Well, that can't be simplified because 2 and 3, they don't go into each other. But we do have a negative divided by a negative. So I know that's going to change that to a positive 2/3 here. So this is going to be a positive 2/3 x. Okay. And then I'm going to look here. And I'm going to say, all right, let's group those together. So if I have 12 divided by negative 3, well, this we can do. We know 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. So that equation is going to be y equals positive 2/3 x minus 4. So again, I'm going to start on my y-axis, and I am going to graph my y-intercept. So my y-intercept here is at negative 4. So I'm going to put my dot right there, okay? And my slope is positive 2/3. So remember, that's a rise over run. So we're going to go up 2 and to the right, 1, 2, 3. Up 2 to the right, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to do the same thing to the left. So I'm going to go down 2 and to the left, 1, 2, 3. Down 2 and to the left, 3. Okay? And I'm going to connect those dots as best I can. Okay? So now, when I look at my second equation, I notice that my second equation is also y equals 2/3 x minus 4. So if I was going to graph that, that would be the same exact line that I just graphed right here, okay? So if I'm looking for a point of intersection, that would be every single point on the line, okay? So if you ever graph a line, 2 lines, and they're the exact same line, that means that these 2 equations have infinitely many solutions, okay? Because every single point is the exact same. So that would be infinitely many solutions for that. Because again, this right here, same line. Okay? So in the final question right here, let's look at this word problem. It says, suppose you and your friends form a band, okay? You want to record a demo. Studio A rents for $100 plus $50 per hour. Okay, so that's Studio A. $100 plus $50 per hour. Studio B rents for $50 plus $75 per hour. So first thing it wants us to do is it wants us to write an equation to represent the cost of each studio, okay? So when you have word problems, anytime you see this per hour, anytime you see this word per, that's how you know that number has to go with your X value. Okay, so for Studio A, our equation would be Y equals 50 times X, so 50X, plus that initial fee of $100. Okay, Studio B here, 75 is the number that's with the per hour. So this would be 75X, and then it rents for that initial fee of $50. Okay? So it wants us to solve by graphing. Our equations are already in y equals mx plus b form. So I want to graph these. Again, we're going to start with our y-intercept. Okay? And so I'm going to start with Studio A. I'm going to start with my y-intercept, which is 100, and I'm going to put a dot at 100, okay? And my slope here is 50, So we're going to go up 50 and over 1. So 100 plus 50 is 150. 150 plus 50 is 200. And we're going to go over 1. Don't forget to go over 1. Up 50 over 1, up 50 over 1, up 50 over 1. Okay, and I'm going to try to connect those the best I can. And now I'm going to do Studio B. So Studio B, my y-intercept is 50. So I'm going to plot a point right there at 50. And this time I'm going to go up 75 because my slope here is 75. So if I say 50 plus 75, that's going to be 125. And I'm going to go over 1. If I say 125 plus 75, that's going to be at 200, and I'm going to go over 1. If I say 200 plus 75, that's 275 and over 1. And if I say 275 plus 75, that's going to be 350 and over 1. Okay? And again, I'm going to connect those points. And I'm looking for where do they intersect, and they intersect right here. Okay? And again, we want to write our x coordinate first. So my x coordinate here is 2. And my y coordinate is 200. So my solution is 200. Okay, so then it says, well, explain what that means in terms of renting a studio. What does this solution mean? Okay, what is 200? Okay, so let's go back and look at our word problem. So it says we're renting, we want to record a demo, we want to rent some studios. Studio A rents for $100 plus $50 per hour. So remember here, this X value, because we said it's with the per, the X value is the hour, okay? Our Y value is how much does it cost to rent for that many hours. So here, what this is saying is for 2 hours, it costs $200 to rent, and that's at both studios. So at Studio A, if we rent for 2 hours, we would pay $200. At Studio B, if we rent for 2 hours, we would pay $200.